Hey guys, it's Chris, and welcome to the Toned and Toneful video podcast, episode number 17, Your Instruments in an Emergency. So before I get started, I wanted to say happy Halloween to you guys. I hope the morning is starting off spooky. I hope that you guys got your costumes picked out. You're watching scary movies today. Might go trick-or-treating or maybe enjoy some candy at your own house, trick-or-treat from your own bag. I hope you guys have a lot of fun because Halloween is one of my favorite holidays. And funny enough, The Nightmare Before Christmas, which is Halloween and Christmas together, is one of my favorite movies altogether. So I just wanted to get that to you guys before we got too started up. So happy Halloween. So today's episode is on how to deal with the idea that your instruments could be hurt and the idea that your instruments could be stolen or something can happen to them in an emergency. This last week here in California, we had an earthquake actually that was a 5.1 in San Jose. So I lived kind of near the San Andreas Faults here. And in that area, it's very common to have earthquakes. And it kind of got me thinking, because this last week when I felt my house wobble, my house felt like it was like Play-Doh. Like the whole house just kind of did a real quick snake movement. And you kind of think, all right, first off, are all the dogs outside and is everybody safe? In my particular case, I was very lucky. There was no one else in the house. It was me alone. But this kind of made me wonder, what do I do with my instruments? There was a moment there that I actually had no idea what to do. I looked over at my guitars, and after the initial shake, you could feel the ground was just starting to go, and it was to the point where I was like, okay, should I hide in the beams in between the door sill like I've been taught? I'm on the second floor, or should I get outside? And it was kind of nerve-wracking because it got me thinking, what if this happened when I wasn't home and I wasn't with my instruments and something came collapsing down and broke some of my guitars that I could never replace? We all have a couple of instruments that might be vintage, or maybe we all have like a hand-built one. A lot of us musicians have a guitar that's built by a very close personal guitar builder friend. I'm lucky to have Mobius guitars, and that's what I have some from. I have my Tom Anderson over here, and it's definitely nothing I want to lose. So I got to thinking to myself, what's the best way to deal with this? Like, what do you do? And in thinking that, I actually put up an Instagram story on my Toned and Toneful page. You can find me at Instagram, Toned and Toneful. So if you guys are interested in that, please tell your friends about it. Please share it. I'm really looking to grow this page, and I'm really looking to have this become a bigger thing. I know right now we're still at that point where it's a lot of my close friends and a lot of my colleagues seeing these videos, and they're looking at them and they're kind of seeing that there's a lot of it is about like emotional and mental awareness. But on the other hand, we are speaking from the point of view of musicians. So again, that's what Toned and Toneful will always be about. So I got to asking this question on my story. What would you do with your instrument if there was an emergency? And the overwhelming answer that I got is, I don't know. I don't know. Or pray for the best. Or, people are like, well, mine's in a hard case. If a fire happened, the hard case ain't going to do much. If a earthquake happens and the water sprinklers go off, you have automatic water sprinklers in your apartment building or your home, case ain't going to do much. Once the case absorbs that water, your instruments is not going to be in a good spot. So I got to reaching out more and more, and I got a great answer from my friend Victor Lee. He actually threw it forward that Music Pro Insurance is actually a place that we can go to. And I checked out their website, and I noticed that it had a slew of different liability insurances that you could apply to your practice space, insurance that you could apply towards your students. Like say that you're playing a gig outside and something happens where a music stand blows over and hits your student in the shoulder. Things like that are things that need to be thought about when we're working in music because emergencies happen. As a matter of fact, my father runs the downtown for a city that's local here in the the Silicon Valley. I'm not going to say the exact one. And since he's the downtown director and coordinator, he actually runs a lot of the shows. And one of the shows, someone slipped off a staircase that was like to a side to a stage, and they hit their head. And they were able to sue the city because of certain parameters that were not filled out. And the insurance that the band had wasn't good enough to deal with it. And this band was in deep trouble. So the idea here is to be kind of prepping ourselves up mentally, not only for the good things that are going to happen, because a lot of great things happen in music. We're going to make friends. We're going to play music. We're going to be building our repertoire of capabilities in music. But at the same time, we need to be building our experience on how to deal with situations. Say you're driving out on tour and your van breaks down. Do you really know what you're doing? Do you actually have enough money put away? Every time you guys drive, do you at least know that there's some car shops or tow shops on the way? I know this might seem like a lot of extracurricular thinking, but when we're prepared and we're ready, we're able to make a lot more choices in our music and a lot more choices in our life that are much, much more careful. So that's why I brought up this subject for this particular video, because it is one of those things that is easy to slip under the rug. Do you keep fret protectors under your guitar strings when you put your guitars in your cases so you don't wear your frets down more? If not so, go to stumac.com and they have them there. I'll put a link in the YouTube video, and I'll put it also for Music Pro Insurance as well, because these are little things that you can do to prepare yourself. If you carry your guitars in gig bags a lot like I do, make sure that you also have a hard case for the instrument. Or if you're going to be carrying a gig bag, it goes everywhere. It's strapped to you. You do not walk away from that thing. You do not leave that thing left near something like just leaning while people can drop stuff on your gig bag, because your instrument can still take a hit in a gig bag. And the gig bags today are much better than they ever were. I use all mono gig bags and they are tough. But again, we're talking about instruments that are priceless. Say you have a gig bag with a vintage ES335 in it, or a vintage Gibson Les Paul, or maybe you have a vintage Strat. Or again, that hand-built instrument from your friend. Maybe you have an acoustic. Maybe you have something that was made specially for you. These are things that you want to keep with you. They're part of your musical legacy. They're part of your musical identity. When we play instruments, they help us represent ourselves. And they're also tools. So when we lose an instrument that's a tool, we might not be able to do an alternate tuning for a little while, or we might not be able to achieve the same sound that we were looking for our music. So this is something that I wanted to keep in mind. And I definitely think that it aligns with today being Halloween, because it is spooky to think about your instrument and extra scary to think about it not being there. So that is why I wanted to bring that up in today's episode, you guys. And in the further episodes as things move on, I do want to start tightening up the time limit on my videos. I noticed that the long form videos, at the same time while providing a lot of information for you guys, might be tough for a lot of people to listen to in their entirety. So if you guys could please leave a comment if you made it to this point in the video, that you've seen this part, and let me know if you write long, then let me know you want long videos. If not, write short if you like short videos. You can do that on YouTube or you can do that on Instagram. Please comment. I want to build this page to be something that's informative for you guys and something that you guys can use as a reference point for musician things and your mental awareness towards being a better musician and being a better player yourself. This podcast is very, very important to me. And I know that I work a full-time job and I'm trying to squeeze this in and make it part of, my music life and part of my life with expressing things to you guys so that we can have great musical lives and you can learn from my experiences, whether they're bad or they're good. You guys deserve to be able to use my experiences as a place to, juxtaposition your ideas and your opinions off of. So I wanted to say, first off, thank you guys for sticking with me through these 17 episodes so far. I can't believe we're on episode 17. And we're definitely working towards 20 and 25, And on 25, I definitely want to do a giveaway. So let's up the views on this. Let's start sharing these guys. And I really appreciate you also. Music Pro Insurance and also StuMac fret protectors and different things to protect your instruments are so important. So I just wanted to go over the idea of, do you know what you're going to do with your instrument in an emergency? Because if you don't, it might be time to kind of figure out a particular parameter or factor in insurance, or maybe a safe place, or maybe you have certain spots for certain instruments. Not all of them are left in places where they could be harmed. Maybe your most precious one you keep with you as you go to different places. I don't know, but you guys give me your suggestions in the comments as well. Music Pro Insurance was a great one given to me by Victor Lee. Thank you so much, brother. But anyone else who has good ideas or any other music professionals, please add your ideas. I would love to hear the abundance of information that I know exists out there. And I hope that you guys have a great Halloween. You enjoy your trick-or-treating. And I hope you guys enjoy the candy that's at bay. And don't eat too much. Enjoy it. But don't get yourself into like that, where you're eating candy to the point you're sleepy. Maybe have 1 or 2 fun size every couple of hours just to keep the fun up. And I just wanted to say thank you guys. And remember, this week, stay toned and toneful.